Okay, welcome back to the channel, my YouTube friends. Chapter 26 for Reincarnation Coliseum has dropped, and our story begins right after Momo-chan announces the Mikagami team as the victors. The recovery priests are making their way to the arena to take care of the participants. This includes Mikagami, Marl, Alexandros, and Chris, who is still knocked out. It moves on to the nobles who are with Desmos in the higher seats, describing the match as thrilling and entertaining. From there, we see Desmos being handed a mic from her assistant, and she uses it to introduce herself to all of the attendants. The audience is attentive to see what will happen next, as Desmos tells them that since Alexandros Burn has lost a match, he will now serve 1 year as her slave. This way, he will continue to be a gladiator in future fights. This confuses both the general public and nobles. Some question the 1 year deal, while others wonder how can that be with his aristocrat status. In the end, the audience asks if this means they will get high level matches like this every week from now on, and another audience member believes it to be the case. The crowd erupts with noise and start to chant Desmos' name as she looks on from high up. Mikagami and Marl look on while wondering what the deal could have been between those two. From what was said next, it translates that Alexandros pawned himself off to Desmos, telling her that if he loses, he'll work for free for 1 year as a slave to the Coliseum. Things shift to Alexandros as he mentions the situation has become troublesome, but it can't be helped as he proceeds to call for Desmos. Acknowledging him, Alexandros smiles and apologizes before telling her that they should forget this even happened. Desmos and Mikagami are stunned as he continues on to say that he's been busy with development in his territory and was hoping that he could earn some money while winning here. He goes on to say that things are not free after all, and Mikagami gets nervous hearing his words of denial before Desmos takes her sword and smashes into Alexandros at an insane speed. The crowd is taken aback, and Desmos calls him an idiot since he's already making money. In the next panel, we see that Alexandros was able to block Desmos' attack, but still receive damage, enough to draw blood as Desmos tells him that she will be making money using his name from now on. Just when things look done, the announcer addresses the next match being Desmos versus Alexandros Burn, respectively. Calmly entering between the two is Marl, asking what do they think they're doing. If it's going to be the strongest versus the hero, then she wants to be involved in this as well. This would make it a triple threat match, and the crowd erupts even more with hype. With all three fighters raring to go, Mikagami stops Marl by grabbing her chest and dismissing the idea of her being involved. He tells her they're going home and the others should do the same, but that's when Desmos tells him to wait. She tells him that since he's here, why don't he get involved in this match too, with Alexandros agreeing. This would make it a revenge match, but Mikagami proposes something better. Instead of that, how about in 1 year's time, they have a retirement match for the general. It will be the strongest army versus the hero's army. Now that's a fight that will bring in some money, as a proposal makes the crowd go silent. After thinking it over, they even agree it's something they want to see and tells Desmos to agree to it as well. With that, Mikagami walks off, but not before he wishes them good luck. Desmos and Alexandros talk among themselves about Mikagami, with Alexandros believing him to be more of a clown, and Desmos stating he's just a cute kid but his methods aren't. Alexandros asks if they were like that 20 years ago, and Desmos wonders about that. We get a flashback panel of them on the battlefield together, with Desmos stating he wouldn't have lost if they were. Alexandros brushes off the thought as Desmos says thinking of those days is over. That being said, she yells to the crowd to be silent and slams her sword to the ground. Addressing Alexandros next, she goes over the contract from earlier to make him a gladiator of the Coliseum. If he refuses, her subordinates, slaves, and even herself use everything at their disposal to torture to death him, his relatives, and anyone else involved for the next 100 generations. Zulu and Mary appear frightened and wonder what will happen if Alexandros refuses the deal. The whole country could be at war because of the two factions. After contemplating, Alexandros finally drops to a knee and smiles before addressing Desmos as his master. Putting the pride of the Burn family on the line, he officially agrees to participate in what's to come. With that crisis avoided, both gladiators and nobles can breathe easier. Making their way through the corridors, Mikagami is seen complaining to Marl that it's so noisy out there. He mentions that he wasn't up for the next fight and wasn't going to participate for good reason. He determined that the strength that Alexandros had was not going to be enough to deal with Desmos, especially in that weakened state. Though she couldn't overlook what Alexandros said, it would make things look bad in her position if she acquired her slave so easily. Hence, her solution was to put on the show, then call Mikagami out and ride the wave of the momentum. Morrow gets confused, which leads into a spat while Mikagami is explaining it. Afterwards, he tells Morrow that he has to go by the receptionist's desk, and she sends him off by telling him that she'll be waiting for him in the room. In another area, we find the receptionist waking up Chris and explaining that they are in the recovery room. The receptionist states that if she does not feel any discomfort anywhere, then it would be best to put on her slave clothing. Chris questions why she must put on slave clothing, and the receptionist explains that her partner Alexandros gave up during the match, which resulted in her becoming a slave. This shocks her, which is a typical reaction, according to the receptionist, before the rest of the feelings start to settle in. Realizing that she is to become a sex slave to Mikagami, she gets excited as it reminds her of something from an erotic novel. We get a flashback of her days before all of this now. Though, right here in particular, she's slicking her shit. Chris gives us a backstory on her, such as being abandoned as a baby and raised to be a sister, becoming what they call a purebred maiden. However, as her and her sisters got older, her sisters were the one chosen for marriage while she remained at the church. At the age of 20, while she was doing prayer, she became certain of something. That something was that she was too popular to be chosen. Fast forward to her now at the age of 31, where she's being led down the hall on a leash. She mulls over how she'll be a pure virgin until she dies, and that she hates scary things. Chris has mixed feelings about sex, but she's also scared of it apparently. After some walking, Mikagami mentions that they have arrived at the room. Panicking, Chris wonders when did she put on the slave outfit as the door opens. Inside is a California King heart-sized bed with a mirrored ceiling, and the chapter comes to a screaming close. I kind of figured Chris was going to be the slave, and I did mention that in the other videos that Chris was going to be the slave and not Alexandros. Why not Alexandros? Well, it'd be kind of pointless to have two superhumans on one team, especially when you can have a barrier healer type that can help you in a team battle, which that was kind of like discussed in the chapter right there. I mean, you got team battle, you got someone that has a barrier that can't be penetrated unless you do dumb shit like Mikagami did, and can heal at the same time. Like, that's easy. Like, I would want that on my team over another superhuman, because if you're going against Desmos, Desmos is a superhuman too, apparently, and she looked like she could take Alexandros out, which damn near happened, but you know, he was able to hold his own after being healed just right then and there, so I give him that. We did get young Desmos and Alexandros too in a flashback, not a whole panel, but just enough to see what they look like, and it was pretty cool. I think that was cool. But either way, you know, Alexandros is still a slave, so let him do his 1 year. And I'm surprised she even let that happen, actually. Like, a deal for 1 year. Like, once you lose, I thought that was gonna be it. Like, remember the girl that had Musashi and Suzu? I thought since she was an aristocrat too, like, it'd be some type of deal like that, but Desmos is like, I guess you're gonna be a slave, ha ha ha, happy birthday. It's like, what the fuck? Like, yo, she's an aristocrat too, but I guess it all really depends on how you are in the hierarchy and all that shit. But whatever. Anyway, moving on to Chris and the backstory with that. I think that was kind of hilarious. You know, I don't think she was jealous of her sisters. It was kind of sad in the beginning when I was thinking of it, because she was abandoned as a baby, but she was raised in the church. You know how church stories go when you're raised in. You're like sworn to protect your chastity and all that shit. And then, you know, she like thinks of it like all of them are like out there fucking because they were chosen for marriage and all that stuff, which leads to that. So she must be the most popular because no one chose her. But little does she know, now she got chosen, now she's a slave, and now she's about to get her shit punched in. I mean, she about to get that asshole punched in, coot, and everything else. But good chapter. I did enjoy it. You know, it is what it is. I can't wait to see what comes next. And hopefully it's Alice, so we can finish off her backstory too. I want to get that done, or get more information from Zulu at least. But I know it's gonna be some nasty sex going on, because that's a lot of body to deal with from Chris for Mikagami. Oh shit, I just thought about it. He not only gotta fuck Chris, he has to fuck the rest of them too. And I wonder how, you know, Suzu's gonna like react to one more slave getting in there. And if they're gonna force her to be involved somehow. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I can't wait for the next chapter, which will be in February. I do believe it's gonna be the March Dragon Age issue because they're going on hiatus for a month, I think. I think that's what I was reading. But, you know, thank you all for tuning in. As always, I try to get these videos out around the time that the Raws hit. If you got any questions or anything like that, definitely hit me up in the comments or on social media. I try to answer. Or, you know, anything else what you want to discuss about the chapter. Give it a like. Subscribe to the channel. Tell everybody about it. You know I'm covering this for the time being. I'm waiting for that follow from Zunta. that's gonna make like my year forever if I ever get that follow from Zunta. I already got retweets from him, but I need that follow from him. That's like gonna set everything off. I'm gonna do even more content because of that. That's all I got. So keep on grinding, my homies, and I'll catch you in the next video. Holla at your boy.